Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the big news. The topic for today's discussion is Rajya Sabha elections. Let us try and understand what is this topic all about. What is the context? Rajya Sabha elections are scheduled to take place on June 10th. Polling will be held for as many as 57 seats spread across 15 states. So it is in this backdrop we will try and understand what is the election procedure with respect to the Rajya Sabha. When it comes to the houses of the parliament, what we have is the Lok Sabha and what we also have is the Rajya Sabha. When it comes to the Lok Sabha, how does the election procedure take place? All of us would be able to go and vote in the Lok Sabha elections. Any candidate will be able to represent a particular constituency, and any individual who is above 18 years of age would be able to vote for a political candidate or that political candidate representing a particular constituency. So how will the person be declared a winner? If that particular person, as per the first past the post system, if he is even able to get one vote which is greater than the another candidate, that candidate will be declared as winner for that particular constituency, and he will be declared as the member of parliament for the Lok Sabha constituency. How is it when it comes to Rajya Sabha? The Rajya Sabha has a different procedure which is called as the single transferable vote, and this is as per the proportional representation. Let us try and understand how does this procedure work. When it comes to the Rajya Sabha, it is a permanent body. It is also called as a continuing chamber. Unlike Lok Sabha, which usually runs for 5 years and fresh elections are taken up, Rajya Sabha has no specific tenure and it keeps on running. Therefore, it is never dissolved. So when it comes to Lok Sabha, we have a 5-year tenure, and after every 5 years, what we will have is the elections. But when it comes to the Rajya Sabha, what exactly happens? It is a permanent chamber, and every second year, 1/3 of its members retired. For the vacant seats, fresh elections takes place. However, nominations are also taken at the beginning of the third year. Representation of the People's Act of 1951 authorizes the President to make provisions to govern the order of retirement of the members of the Rajya Sabha. What is the composition of the Rajya Sabha? The maximum strength of the Rajya Sabha is fixed at 250, out of which 238 are to be the representatives of the states and union territories elected indirectly, and 12 are nominated by the President. At present, the Rajya Sabha has 245 members. Out of 245, 229 members are elected from the states, 4 members represent the union territories, and 12 members are nominated by the President. So when we speak about the nominated members, these are nominated by the President of India because they have special knowledge, practical experience when it comes to certain domains like art, literature, science, and social service. What is the rationale behind it? These people have immense knowledge when it comes to their domain. These people's voice will also have to be heard. If they fight the elections, they may not win as well, but we may require their expertise, and as a result, to provide these eminent personalities a place in Rajya Sabha without going to the gruesome process of elections, they are nominated by the President. In addition, vacancies that arise due to resignation, death, or disqualification are filled up through the by polls, after which those elected serve out the remaining of the predecessor's term. This is what happens when it comes to the Rajya Sabha. Now, how does this entire voting procedure take place? When it comes to the Rajya Sabha members are elected by the elected members of the state legislative assembly. So remember, when it comes to the states, we have the members of the state legislative assemblies. These people elect the members of the parliament with respect to the Rajya Sabha using the proportional representation. The representation of states in Rajya Sabha is not equal. What do you mean by it? If you look into the fourth schedule, the fourth schedule of the constitution deals with allocation of seats in the Rajya Sabha to the states as well as the union territories. So this is primarily based on the population. For example, Andhra Pradesh has about 11 seats, Arunachal Pradesh has 1 seat in Rajya Sabha, Assam has about 7 seats in the Rajya Sabha. So this basically means depending on the population in that particular state, a prescribed number of Rajya Sabha seats is given to that particular state. As part of the assignment, you have to put on the comment section which are the top 3 states in India which have the highest number when it comes to the Rajya Sabha seats. Please put them on the comment section. So it depends on its population. State with a larger population will have more number of seats in Rajya Sabha than those with a lesser population. How does this particular procedure work? We know for the fact that it is the elected MLAs or the members of the Legislative Assembly who will be electing the Rajya Sabha member. How does this entire process work? Candidates fielded by the political parties have to be proposed by at least 10 members of the assembly or 10% of the party strength in the house, whichever is less. For independents, there should be 10 proposers, all of whom should be members of the assembly. So once there are proposers, once this particular mandate is requested and is made, what we will have is this particular process taking into picture. Let me give you an example. Let's say for example, we take Karnataka. What exactly happens in the state of Karnataka? How many member of the Legislative Assembly seats do we have? We have about 224. Let's say we have about 3 seats that are to be contested from the state of Karnataka. So what is the formula? The formula is number of MLAs into 100. Let's ignore this 100 for a moment. Vacancies plus 1 plus 1. So it means 224 seats in the state of Karnataka. Let's assume for a moment that there are 3 vacancies in the state of Karnataka plus 1. So this will give a particular number plus 1. So what would happen? If you equate it, what you will have is 56 plus 1, whose number will be 57. So if a person has to be elected from the state of Karnataka, that person who is contesting in that state will require the assistance or 57 votes from the members of Legislative Assembly in the state of Karnataka. So how does this work? Let me explain this with the help of an example. Let's say we have 4 candidates. In this particular case, we have candidate A, candidate B, candidate C and candidate D. What exactly happens? There are about 4 candidates. So as a result, what you have is 4 candidates whose list will be designed. Say A, B, C and D. What would happen? There would be a paper which would be given and all the MLAs will have to prioritize a number. What is this priority? This is given to the MLA. So he says his first preference vote will be given to A, his second preference vote will be given to B, his third preference vote will be given to C and fourth preference vote will be given to D. So this will mean 224 MLAs will be given a piece of paper. They have to prioritize. So the first MLA will give this particular priority. The second MLA may prioritize B as the first priority, A as the second priority, C as the fourth priority and D as the third priority. Similarly, you have the third MLA. The third MLA will give a particular number as well. He may say that he wants A to be selected first. If A is not selected, he wants C to be selected second. If it is not C, B will be the third priority, and if it is not B, it will be D as the fourth priority. So all the 224 MLAs in the state of Karnataka will be given a paper and they will mark their priority. Then what would happen? These votes are counted. How will it be counted? First, what they will check is for the first priority votes. How does this work? Let's take hypothetical numbers. Let's say A has got about 58 first priority votes. B has got about 45 first priority votes. C has got about 52 first priority votes and D has got about 48 first priority votes. So who will win the first seat from the state of Karnataka? It will be A. Why? Because the number of votes that was required was 57, but A has got about 58, so he wins the first seat. There are other 3 seats as well, but none of the candidates have got the required number, which is 57. Who has got the least number of first priority votes? It happens to be B. So B is eliminated from this particular competition. But when you consider the paper, in that paper, you would also have the second priority numbers. So these numbers would be collected, and those who have given second priority list, C might get about 15, D might get about 25. So who is the winner? D happens to be the winner. So the second priority vote should be considered, and if there is a person who has garnered 57 and above, such person will be elected. This is how the single transferable vote works. So you have one particular person whose one vote is calculated, but if that particular person does not win, his vote gets transferred to another person, which is called a single transferable vote. Now there are other important factors with respect to Rajya Sabha that we may have to consider. The first important factor is whether the Rajya Sabha polls are being conducted as an open ballot or a secret ballot. So the Rajya Sabha polls have a system of open ballot. This is basically done to prevent the cross voting. What is this cross voting? When it comes to a person, let's say we have a political candidate who represents the Congress party, or he represents the BJP, or he can represent any of the local party. So if a MLA from Congress goes on to vote for BJP, or an MLA from BJP goes on to vote for Congress, that is what is called as cross voting. Ideally, the representative, that is the MLA, should vote for their own political party members, but instead if they vote for another political party, that is what is called as cross voting. So this particular open ballot is taken into picture because to prevent the rampant corruption that exists in the Rajya Sabha elections. So basically, to prevent this corruption, what we have is the open ballot. How does this work? We have what is called as the authorized agent of that political party. So the Congress will have its own agent, BJP will have its own agent. So the MLA, when he is going and casting a vote, he has to showcase this particular paper to the authorized agent. So he has to showcase this paper only to the authorized agent of his political party and not to the opposition political party. So remember, this is an open ballot, and whenever the MLA is casting his vote, he has to showcase this to the authorized agent. Showing a marked ballot to anyone other than the one's own party members will also render the vote to be invalid as well. The next important factor is with respect to nota. Supreme Court in 2018 ruled out that nota will not be allowed in the Rajya Sabha elections. What is nota? Nota happens to be none of the above. The nota option usually is given at the bottom of the candidates list if we are considering the general elections, and it will also have this particular symbol. The nota option for the first time was exercised back in the year 2013 assembly elections, which were held in 4 states. One is Chhattisgarh, Mizoram, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. So it for the first time was considered in 2013. The Election Commission of India brought out a circular. This was in 2014 and 2015. It said that Rajya Sabha members would be given an option to press the nota button in the Rajya Sabha elections. But then we have the Supreme Court of India, which struck down this particular provision that holding of nota option is only for the general elections and not for the Rajya Sabha elections, said the Supreme Court of India. So from 2018, we do not have the nota option for the Rajya Sabha elections. Then what we have is the cross voting. As I discussed, cross voting is nothing but a person from Congress voting for the BJP, or a person from BJP voting for the Congress in the Rajya Sabha elections. Now what is that we have to consider? If a person cross votes, will he be disqualified under the anti-defection law? No, says the Supreme Court of India. So the Supreme Court of India says that every single person, when he is acting as an MLA, he is like an voter voting for a particular person. So if he is voting for another political party, this does not mean he can be disqualified under anti-defection law, but the political party can take suitable disciplinary action. He cannot be disqualified, but suitable disciplinary action can be initiated by that political party, says the Supreme Court of India. Can a legislator vote without taking oath as a member of the assembly? Yes, says the Supreme Court of India. Since he is not taking any legislative action, since he is not engaging in any legislative business, he would be able to vote in the Rajya Sabha elections, says the Supreme Court of India. It is this that we have to understand with respect to the Rajya Sabha elections. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.